not the first time I'm reviewing an SUV, but this is the first time I'm sitting down looking so puny next to this huge monster of a truck here. This is the Cornea impression, and this right here is the Dodge Ram 1500 RHO. Let's go for a drive. This out here, when it's out in the desert, when it's in elements, when I'm going up and down crescents, this is where the car feels at home. The RHO does it beautifully. And there's a reason why they've named it that way as well. The last time, or the last variant, was called the TRX. This version, since it's a slightly mellowed down version because people think that it does not have a V8, there's nothing mellow about it. Like, think about a Rhino. When it charges. That's exactly what this car does. Despite having a 3-liter inline-six cylinder engine, it is still churning out 540 horsepower and 521 Newton meters of torque. It's not as much as the TRX. Despite that, it has much more towing as well as payload capacity. Speaking about towing and payload capacity, when we were out in the morning trying to recce the place before we start shooting, we did come across people who were stuck in the sand. And yeah, we did help them out with the RHO. And it was a breeze. It was an easy thing for the car to do. That itself is a testament to its power. The car right now is running on the Baja setup, because of which the suspension is just precise to whatever I need. I push it, it adapts. I brake, it adapts. I jump, it adapts. And it's just handling everything that I'm lugging at this car. There's a jump. What? Now, it's not the best sounding engine. The V8 had a roar to it. This sort of has like a kind of a sound to it. Which is maybe not appealing to a lot of them, though the sound that has been pumped into the cabin is synthetic. It sort of has an assurance to it. Like, it maybe is a false assurance, but you have a good feeling about how the engine out there is revving. You already have a very good feedback that's being transferred from the tires through the steering rack to the steering wheel here, because of which I have a very, very precise control over how the car behaves. The Tungsten that we drove yesterday, it's more of a refined of a car with its air suspension. You can take it to the dunes, but this is raw. This is something that you can push on the dunes. This is something that will grab attention from all the people who are there duning at that point in time. People will be out there, maybe next to the campfires, but this will be setting fires to the dunes. I'm sure you guys have enjoyed us putting the car through its paces, out there bashing the dunes, jumping. But there's a lot more happening, not just on the outside, but also on the inside. There's a lot of changes that have happened here. So let's head to the studio and we'll talk about what are the changes on the inside of the car, and then we'll head out again. Now that we are back in a much more quieter control environment, let's talk about the interior. But first, these need your attention. These are proper 35 inches standard tires, all terrain, that used to come standard on the TRX, and now they're on the RHO. These are beaded. We also have 13 inches of suspension travel on the front, 14 inches at the back, and built-in tuned special suspension for the RHO, which keeps us more grounded while we're going on the dunes. Otherwise, this thing is ready to fly for sure. Let's go on the inside and check out what's happening with the new 2025 RHO. There's been a significant amount of upgrade in the 2025 RHO, starting from the display here, the display for the driver, and also a display for the passenger. We get a 12.3-inch display for the instrument cluster here, and it's customizable. You can have any amount of information that you want. You want a full-size map, you have it there. You want different widgets of different information there, you can have that. So you can customize it. It's essentially a smartphone right there. And if that's not enough, there's a 14.5-inch infotainment screen here vertically placed, which supports Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly. And with the new Uconnect, which is the 5th generation of it, there's enough of permutation combinations that you can do here. And most of all, what it does make up for is speed. Just like the RAM, it's much more faster, much more responsive as compared to the older infotainment system, which is something that was required, and we see that happen now. Good job done. And there's a third display here, which is a 10.25-inch infotainment screen only for the passenger. When the passenger is fidgeting around or even watching a movie with the help of an HDMI port here, which he can connect, he will be able to keep himself entertained. Driver's not going to be distracted. Speaking about the passengers in the front, he too gets massage seats, just like the driver. There are ventilated seats in this case, not just for the driver and the passenger. Even the rear passengers get ventilated seats. Now, with respect to how the car feels on the inside, there's a football court right here. So in case we are bored in traffic, we can play football. I mean, not really, but yeah, that's how wide the car is. There's enough and more space between me and the passenger. So I'm not going to feel intrusive, or I'm going to be comfortable in my space, my cockpit space here, while the passenger can be entertaining himself with the air conditioning, with the massage seats, however he wants, all while we are on the dunes. And speaking about how utility or how practical the car is, let's talk about the ports that are there. You get a plethora of options here, from Type C to Type A ports, USB. You have an auxiliary 3.5mm input as well, or an output. You have a dedicated HDMI port. There's enough and more storage in the front here. There are two big cup holders here. They're silicone coated, because of which your cups or whatever you put in there, maybe your beverages, they are not going to move. There is not one, but there are two wireless charging pads here. So I can have one phone, and in this case, Mayur, can I borrow your phone, please? Another phone. So we have two phones here that can be wirelessly charged, and they are tucked in place nicely by two rubber pads, so they don't move, especially when you're out there sun duning. And if that was not enough, there's more storage space here. What I especially like, if you notice here, these, I don't know, it's not a practical space to be there, but it's as a homage to the older cars. You have measurements that are placed here with respect to your tan trigonometry matrices. There is also a square plus b square is equal to c square. I mean, anybody who's done algebra should know that, but it's there over here. And that was not enough. At the bottom of this pad here, you have all the different RAMs that have been into existence, right from the oldest one to the current generation RHO right here. They are here embossed here. That's a nice touch. I mean, it's not just practical, but aesthetically, it looks really nice. For a person who has loved Dodge cars before and has continued to support them, it's a nice way to thank them. Everything that you can touch and feel around the cabin feels very well constructed. Nothing feels cheap. Even the Harman Kardon speakers here get a different textured grille, so they stand out. It creates a nice contrast between the black and red accessories and the elements that are there. So though it's a nice stealth look, but it has a very sporty feeling to it because of the red accent that is here. There's a nice glove compartment here as well. Speaking about the glove compartment, let's go around the car just on the inside and see how many storage spaces that we have. Starting from here, so there are two cup holders here. This is for the phone. There is some storage space underneath here, so you can have your documents there for quick access. There's a big storage space here, so you can have your large, maybe 2-liter bottles sitting there, or even maybe in our case, we could have a camera gear right there. Like I could have a dedicated camera and a lens there. The storage space on the door as well is very practical, is because you get this silicone pads here. So if you have your beverages here, they're not going to rattle around. That is a good touch. But storage space doesn't just end there. I can lift the seats and I have more storage space down here. Oh, so I can have my pool sticks or my fishing rods placed back there if I don't want them rattling around the flatbed. And I can have my lures placed right here. The amount of space on this car where I can have little knickknacks around is just crazy. And if everything runs out and I don't have much space, then I have this guy here. We have a 35-inch spare wheel right there, which is bolted onto the flatbed. If I take that out, there's quite an amount of space there. And to get in and out, There's a small step here where I can hold out and then I can get in. And then probably work on my ceiling fan in case it's not working, or change some light bulbs on the street. It's possible from here.
And speaking about practicality, even out on the road, despite the size of the RHO, it's relatively very easy to move the car around, even if it's narrow alleys or even when in tight traffic situations. That being said, the biggest challenge in such vehicles is it easy to park? Yes, we have 360 camera view on the RHO, because of which it is very, very easy to park this car in the narrowest of parking spaces.
Now that we are back at the dunes, and before I head out and do some mischief, let me address this. Yes, the V8s are gone. Yes, there's no more that roar that we used to love about V8s in the Rams anymore. But what do we have instead? We do have a 3-liter inline-six cylinder engine, which is tuned to its finest, so it's delivering the power as much as the outgoing model and also outperforming in some aspects. We also have a very, very reliable chassis. We have new tech that is able to support our needs, not just when we are out there in the dunes, but also for our personal comfort while we are driving. So in a way, I don't think we're losing much. But as a matter of fact, we're gaining quite a lot. The car is now lighter, easier to maintain. I don't think in a way we've lost something. We have, as a matter of fact, gained. And maybe in the future, if we do get back the V8s, we do get back V8s. But for now, with the current configuration for the Ram 1500 RHO, I don't think you're going to go wrong. Me personally, I've loved driving this car. I've loved putting it to the spaces. And when I started shooting, we did have a difference of opinion with a lot of people in my team themselves. But when they saw the car, when they experienced what the car could do, I think there has been a small change of opinion and maybe a little bit of love for the car. And I think that's what we're all aiming for. This is Aurelius from the Cornea Impression signing off. You guys have a good evening ahead. I'm just going to get back to what I was doing before.